Now I invite the chairman, Mr. Adrian Augier, to come to the podium to deliver some remarks. Mr. Augier.
Thank you, Madam Mistress of Ceremonies. Protocol being established, please allow me to associate my remarks accordingly. I'm going to say a few words. The title, which I think is important, is This Country All My Life. I have loved this country all my life, deeply, sometimes desperately. From first childhood memories of pavé road and breadfruit leaves and deeply shadowed cocoa trees and black people walking uphill to the sound of a strange language we used to call patois. In our house, we thought ourselves neither rich nor poor. We knew both sacrifice and celebration, so that all life's important turns had to be considered, carefully dissected and discussed. We saved our copper pennies and did not spend a dollar lightly, knowing there were harder times and more demanding days to come. From that hill above Castries, I saw my country, always a big place in my imagination, an extension of a family, a home place to be cherished, where, as Derek said, if there was nothing yet, then there was everything still to be built. I grew up knowing that to be St. Lucian was the very best of things, so that when America and Europe called, I could safely say, no thanks. It was never going to be about their gold and glory. Here, we had a precious little island waiting to be built. This was where our children should be planted, safe and sure of who and where they were. Then in '79, that Mother England cut us free. We were so glad we called it independence. We made a big blue flag, we made a motto and a 3-verse anthem, and it was like we were born again. And then a few years passed and things began to change. And all of a sudden, the boys and them had real money to play in. They felt it was their own to throw up in the sky and shout, "Free paper, come again." We wasn't playing Dolly House no more. We forget it wasn't ourselves, but our nation we were building. We forget about the children and the sins they would inherit and the places they would have to walk without recognizing their own footprints or the shadow of their grandfathers. We forget that without our example, they would never know the selflessness of sacrifice that bring us to where we was. And so we change. From being neighbors, we become adjoining owners of our all-inclusive homes. Doors and windows lock up tight as night, as soon as evening fall. AC on all day. All night we sit in front of TV that don't show anybody looking like ourselves. So what we expect? We wake up in a morning that don't belong to us and feel that somebody do us wrong. But it's us who fool ourselves, believing we could turn our back on history, on country, on everything that would make us feel all right. Turn our back, abandoning our dreams to a handful of elected men, and some women too, who's supposed to know everything, do everything, cure everything, and make everything all right. Well, here we stand, turning to ourselves again, like friends and neighbors, not just checking for themselves in these hard times. Now it's back to cocoa leaf and breadfruit shadow, and we, black people, walking uphill again. So now, today, for tomorrow, ask yourself, what do you expect? Ladies and gentlemen, we are not here so much because we have been chosen, but because we choose to be here, to live here, to be part of this great enterprise we call St. Lucia. This must be our thinking, that we are not products of circumstance, but architects of our circumstances. This visioning process that we contemplate must not be a government thing. It must be something that we own, each of us, that we embrace. Let us not leave it to the politicians like so many things that we are too complacent to think about or act on for ourselves. The Honorable Prime Minister and Leader of the Opposition are to be commended for their bravery, their courage in returning this power, this prerogative of choice to the people of St. Lucia. These are difficult times for them too, and no doubt it is a big, maybe terrifying step for both parties to openly recognize and publicly admit that they are not messiahs after all, or miracle workers, but servants of the people. And it is us who have put them in this terrifying position, abandoning our democracy, except for every 5 years when we unceremoniously exchange one for the other and walk away again. Well, now they have opened the door. It is that same door we asked them to guard and went off to sleep or to seek our private fortunes. So now they are asking us not to rush in blindly, but certainly to look through and see what lies ahead and see if you like it and help to make those changes necessary to alter and reshape the future. So this is not a government thing. We are to be these architects. Let us make sure that this door stays open long enough to make a difference. And if you see it closing, please stand up and say respectfully, sir, madam, we ain't finished yet. If this thing fails or succeeds, c'est pas à cause de Kenny, ni Gail, ni Stevenson, ni Alain, c'est nous. We must be committed sufficiently to see this thing through and recognize that failure is not an option. Ladies and gentlemen of the Commission, I thank you for signing up. I trust when you volunteered, they told you who the chairman was going to be, but maybe not, no matter you've taken the oath. We have a long walk ahead, and it is said that I am no easy taskmaster. This road is not so much for the swift, but for those who can endure. Pace yourself. We do not intend to fail. Your Excellency, on behalf of the Commission, I thank you. As always, you do us great honor by your gracious presence and the dignity of your office. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow St. Lucians, many of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory, but let us not condemn ourselves. Let us not exempt ourselves. Let us forgive ourselves and each other. Let us do our best for our country, for to be a St. Lucian is still truly the very best of things. I thank you.